Can I be heard? Anybody out there?
people were enjoying just.
Okay, my iPhone has audio, so
Okay.
please don't drop my new baby.
I would really rather use this, but
Huh?
I would rather use this, but if we maybe it can be made to work later.
Yeah, I'll work on that. But for now, let's get the.
Okay.
It's not the right video yet. Hold on.
All right.
Oh, no, it is the right video.
It is the right video. Okay. And we're still. Is it going out like this? Are we?
Yeah.
So, hi! How's it going, world out there? Welcome to the Artemis Cosmos debut to the universe. We're going to present the brand new game today that is just being off digital presses. We're having a party here in Cleveland to celebrate. And we've got, I know, and I don't have a control. And we're having it.
That says you're choppy.
I'm choppy.
Stand right there for a second.
Okay, I'm standing right here. All right, I'm standing right here and I'm talking. Do we have a problem with the... All right, how does it sound now? How does it look now? How are we coming through now?
Hang on, Mr. Tracker.
Okay.
He can check.
Yeah, it's a really nice day here. This is a really important event. We're all so happy to be here. The game is really cool. It's been a long road. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think I heard him say you're good.
We're good now? Okay.
I guess we're good.
We could not hear what you...
You're good.
Okay. So now, here we are with the premiere of Artemis Cosmos. With me here is Tom Robertson, the creator of Cosmos, with a fantastic announcement for the world. And back up a little bit, Tom.
Sure.
You better, yeah. Good. All right, Tom, what is happening here tonight?
We are here to toast and celebrate the release of Artemis Cosmos.
Hey! The crowd goes wild! Hey!
So, I don't know how many people know, but I created the first version of this game in 2010. Way back in the day, it's just another one of my many crazy lone wolf indie game development ideas. And over the next 10 years or so, I developed that original game mostly on my own, but of course people were excited about it from the beginning. The first people I showed it to, including Mike, thought it was a good idea, which is why I kept doing it. But eventually it got crusty and old and really hard to program, and so much time had passed and the technology had moved forward. So in 2021, I actually set out to rebuild it from the ground up, brand new code. And and initially, of course, I did it the way I always did it, by myself. But I had absolutely no idea how big the project would become quickly, and I also had no idea how many friends would step up and join me and work with me on the project, which was a really fresh and new experience for me. And so I put a lot of work into it. I had a lot of great ideas, but the great truth is that if it were just me, it wouldn't be anywhere near as big, as useful, as complex, and as revolutionary compared to the first game as it is. For that, we have to thank all the people who worked with me. Doing so I would like the first toast tonight to not be for me, but for all the developers of Artemis Cosmos.
Hey, I'll drink to that.
So say we all. So say we
all.
So say we all.
So say we all.
So say we all. So say we all. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go upstairs now and take some. We march up the stairs.
Whichever one you prefer. All right.
Would you like to see the questions before you?
What's going on with the questions? Are these questions that everybody had? Stay in one room.
These are questions that Patty wrote down for me to ask you.
Sure, I'll have a look.
And they get some on chat too.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can sit.
Alright. Where should I put my, can I go here?
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
it.
it sounds.
Well, no, I don't. I gotta get my headphones on in here.
Doug's our engineer.
But you're on now. I'll
Excellent.
make you bigger now though.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this webcast. All right.
Should we start?
Yeah, we should start. This is about answering questions from the internet and from the team, and just hopefully providing context and interesting information for everybody out there who's interested in the brand new Artemis Cosmos game.
First question is, where did you get the idea for Artemis?
So that's a fun old story. Because as I said earlier in this podcast or this broadcast, the idea or the game actually began in 2010, but the idea was much earlier, way back when I was, I guess, 17 or so. Oh, boy, kids, ask your parents, actually ask your grandparents. That's how old it is. 1983, probably. I and my buddies were all working on our Commodore 64s. And that is when I first had the idea for a game like Star Trek, or more like Star Trek Bridge, where different computers could be connected together and do different jobs, working together to save the galaxy. That idea came to me when I was just a teenager, and I actually did a little work on it. I actually, soldered up a ribbon cable and hooked it up between two Commodore 64s and wrote some underlying code to send, bytes of data back and forth between the two computers and got it to work, but I never really pursued it beyond that. It was just that, the idea never left my head, and my muse works in mysterious ways. And it was the beginning of summer 2010 when my muse said, "You have all the pieces, make it." And so I did. I spent that whole summer writing the original functional piece of equipment or piece of software that became Artemis.
So you could say this has been a lifelong dream for you?
Is it a dream? I mean, my larger dream is just making cool video games. Artemis is a great game and has done very well for me and made a lot of people happy. But I just like making all kinds of video games. So my dream has always just been to make all kinds of video games. And, Artemis itself is just a great success.
I think you sort of answered this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why develop a collaborative game?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Artemis game itself is just inspired by Star Trek and the fact that people on the bridge of the Enterprise collaborated. They worked together. They solved problems together, and they did their own jobs collaboratively, but also cooperatively. So that was certainly where all that came from. In terms of just a video game idea, I mean, the marketplace is filled to the brim with games where you shoot your buddy. So that's not that's not a place I really necessarily want to get into. So yeah, that's why I'm happy that Artemis is as cooperative as it is.
Do we have any questions online before I go to the last question?
Not yet. I
All right.
cued them to know to ask.
Okay. So, well, then what is next for you as a game developer?
Well, I'm in a happy place to pursue my my ideas as they come up, to listen and follow my muse. But specifically, as far as Artemis is concerned, Artemis is certainly not at an end. Cosmos is at the beginning. We're just transitioning to a place from where we had a small team of testers and collaborators to a place where we have everyone who owns the game telling us what is and is not right about the game. I have said many times that the difference between the old Artemis and Cosmos is just as night and day can be. Everything is contrasting. The old game was simple and made just by me, just one person. The new game is very complex and made by a team, and so on. So I feel very, as we continue to work on Artemis, the sky's the limit on that project, but also the way in which we make it, the way in which we get feedback, the things that we work on next will be is now changing because of this release tonight. Because we released the game today, everything changes, but the game doesn't stop being worked on. The game doesn't stop, and I'm still going to be working on Artemis a lot of my time. But I'll still find time to make other crazy, wacky games.
Well, for Artemis, we went from collaborative play to collaborative development.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that is in some ways the most challenging for me. I mean, I recognized from the beginning that bands and video game development studios and other things are usually started by 2 people or 3 people in their garage, not one. Collaboration is important, and so I have always felt like I've been a little left out in my career and my life of developing. Never been really proud of calling myself a lone wolf indie game developer. It's just what happened. So the way Artemis Cosmos has come together has been really really valuable and important to me, but also surprising and new to me.
We do have questions.
Ooh.
Spark Imagination Aruba asks, will the new version support tablet, iOS, or Android? I expect you get that a lot.
Yeah, I expect we'll get that a lot. The answer is not now, but in the future. The old game was a PC only and was terribly programmed, especially for platform agility. And then I basically had to outsource the iOS and Android versions, which cost a whole lot of money and did not make me any money. That was, in the last 10, 15 years. So what's different about Cosmos is the underlying technology has been completely rewritten, and it's much more platform agile. It's much more capable of making the jump to other platforms. But we have not actually begun the process of doing that jump to other platforms yet. We will. It's upcoming, but I don't have a date for you. It's just, it's just not only in our long-term plans, but also much more achievable than the old game.
Oh, sorry. I'm a little behind on the audio. Next question is Poi, P-O-I. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but what are some of the quests we are looking at in the new update?
Okay, well, so the set of missions that the game ships with is interesting, but by no means the last mission that anyone will ever play, because we're very proud of our Python integration for scripting and all that it can do. We're very excited about the future and very excited about the number of people who can make missions for Artemis, even complex and interesting missions. But getting back to your question, We first set out to kind of remake the standard classic missions from the first Artemis, and we called them our legendary missions. And we have a full set. We have Siege and Single Front, Double Front, Border War, Deep Strike, Peacetime. And that our whole team collaborated on those missions. But I also did feel like it was very important to show off some of the more new features and also show off how we have new content from the beginning. So specifically, we have 2 new missions that have never been seen before in the old game. One is called Secret Meeting, which is where you have a knife fight with elite Scaron forces in the middle of a dense asteroid belt while protecting a station that has a diplomatic meeting going on. That's a lot of fun, especially at the higher levels because the Scarons have all those crazy abilities. So they're all jumping around and cloaking and doing crazy things and intercepting your torpedoes while you're trying to keep them away from the station. So that's Secret Meeting. And then Walk the Line is a completely different mission that we have new for Artemis Cosmos. And that's more of a kind of a horde mode that's designed so that you get a new station every 10 minutes, and that station is more threatened by enemies than the one before it. So it's one of those games where you last as long as you can. And both missions are very adjustable and have difficulty levels you can set and that kind of stuff. But hopefully they will tide us over while we and the gaming community as a whole, or the Artemis community as a whole, build up more of a portfolio of super fun missions.
Disembodied hand here. Peacetime has a new mission in it that is sort of a new mission that hasn't been seen before. So
yeah, that's right. We've done a lot of work on these missions to not only sand off the rough edges, but provide new features that we never saw in the old game. And Peacetime has a really fun mystery that I recommend everybody try to play.
Okay, next question is again from Spark Imagination Aruba. Very much interested in the Game Master feature. Anything new? Question mark. Follow-up question: is it easier to make script missions?
So yeah, that's 2 whole questions. Let me take the first one first. That we do actually have a Game Master. We actually call it the Admiral mode on the options screen. But it's can be multiple things, including a Game Master mode. You can start with a blank slate. In fact, there's a kind of a blank mission area that you can start with that you use with the Admiral mode, and then you can lay down enemies and stations and set up whatever you want. That comes out of the box, and we'll keep chewing on that to make that better and more valuable for people as we go along. But that comes day one with Cosmos, so that's exciting for those who really want to play that way, who really want a game mastered mode. And again, we have so much power and flexibility in our new scripting system based on Python that the sky's the limit. But the other question was,
well, one thing about the Game Master is I believe Game Master was sort of like a separate script module or something like that. Admiral is available to any mission if you choose to.
Yeah,
Admiral. As well as there's an operator mode that's kind of has a couple extra features on top of the Admiral mode to show the time remaining in enemies. So if it's enabled, it's not, you don't see it out of the box, but operator mode has that, which we'll probably do a video on operator mode someday.
Yeah.
The second question was, is it easier to make script missions? Easier is a relative term.
Yeah, easier is a relative term. We did not out of the box go for easy. We went for powerful. But that power is certainly going to give us the opportunity to go easy. And specifically, as we move forward, we will work hard to provide documentation, example scripts, and step-by-step ways in which you can start small. So easy, I think that right now, I wouldn't say that it's magically easy, but we will make it magically easy in the future. And we're still so very proud about how powerful it is. So yeah, it's gonna to really get in there and script, you're gonna have to learn Python. But we actually have a whole scripting system built on top of Python that is called Mast that Doug built. That really reorganizes how scripts are built into much more of a kind of a script thing of a top to bottom movie script kind of pattern. And we will also be documenting that thoroughly. So basically, we have a tremendous amount of flexibility and power going forward, and we will be chewing on it to make sure it's as easy as possible while not sacrificing any of the power that we're excited about.
Yeah. Right now, the learning curve is a little steep. Once you get into Mast, it starts to level out a little, but particularly when you get to all the things the old scripting language couldn't do, they're going to be much easier to do in Cosmos.
Yeah, you won't have to copy, paste multiple events all over.
Well, no, I'm thinking of all the fever dream, all the really wacky, bizarre things I want to do. Now we can do that in Python.
I think Darren and I are supposed to talk more about scripting later. So
all right, we can.
And on top of that, really, the game master, time permitting, will demo the Admiral Council and throw some random monsters or black holes at people playing the game unexpectedly. All right, next question. DMX, native support, question mark, plug and play?
Yes, absolutely. DMX is ready to go. That too is actually crazy powerful now because we're again using Python. Now there's a piece of distinct Python script that runs on the server that is basically plugged into the state of the whole game. And that Python script can be written as complex as you want to power as many Python channels as you want. Python channels, I meant DMX channels. Now, you're still right now limited to the little blue box, the little OpenDMX adapter that I recommend. But that little blue DMX adapter, OpenDMX, does work with Cosmos 1.0.
Okay. We got Mike answering a couple of questions. Okay. William Wallace says, "Why did you choose Python?"
That's a Doug question.
Well, can I tell the truth, Doug? That it was you, Doug, my friend Doug here.
I remember driving to the storage place talking about it.
Yep. Doug was the initial champion of Python. I wasn't sure. I might have done Lua. There were other options, and Doug was saying, "Look, it's not hard to integrate. It's an incredibly popular language. It's an incredibly powerful language." And I said, "Okay, Doug, you convinced me." And Doug wasn't wrong. I haven't regretted the decision to go Python as our scripting language for one instant.
Yeah, and some other scripting languages, Artemis is unique in that it's kind of you get a snapshot or a periodic chance to interact with the script. And something like JavaScript, that would have been really difficult to do with some of the JavaScript engines. Lua, it probably would have been fine, but Python gives you a lot more power. And it's the #1 language now, thanks to AI. Okay. Well, there's no question mark at the end, but it is a question. What do you think of the VR Star Trek Bridge Crew game?
I think it's a great game, and it's a real shame because when they first came out, it was a VR only game, and they put a lot of marketing money into it, and everybody knew about it, but very few people could play it. And then after I think a year, they modified the version so that you could play it without VR goggles, just on a regular screen. And by that time, people had moved on and had forgotten the game existed, so it didn't get the traction that it really deserved. I think it was a cool game, and they put a lot of hard work into it. And they actually, I don't know, if you dig into it, you'll find that they actually provided different bridges for different eras of Star Trek. So I was always impressed by what they did. More power to them, friendly competition and all that.
It's on standalone on Quest now too, but I think single player. We got a congratulations and a good evening all, and then we have another one from William Wallace. What was the inspiration for the different alien races and their names?
Oh wow! Okay, so
Kill those rascally aliens.
No. So the deal is that as a game designer, and I am a game designer, I'll cop to that. As a game designer, I'm not the kind of game designer who knows what my alien enemies had for breakfast. That's just not the kind of creativity I have. My creativity is in how they move and how they shoot and what the flow of the game is like and what the user interface is all about. And also, lower level stuff like how the 3D looks. That's kind of always been the game developer that I am. I am not the kind of guy who has a giant, well fleshed out world cooking away in his back pocket. And I know there are many creative people who do, who have written whole books about the ideas they have and the grand worlds that they've envisioned. It's just not who I am. So when I made these aliens, honestly, I'm the kind of guy who's like, 2 blobs and a line, that's good enough for an alien. Sure, he's my alien. And, when it came to alien names, I was like, whatever, pick something, pull stuff out of thin air. The meaning of things like Kralien and the meaning of things like Scaron, they're just random names to me. But over the years and with the collaboration of the people around me, they certainly have come to mean a lot more. And that's exactly why I love working with my team.
Okay, we got Idiot Luggage.
That's a good.
I noticed that it says Cosmos is Windows only. Was all the game written in Python? If so, how hard would it be to set up for other OSs, Linux? Well, there's a nuanced question or something like that.
It is kind of nuanced. So to clear up any misconceptions, Python is the scripting language that runs inside the game, which is written in C++. So there's a whole lot of C++ support code, setting up the game and getting things to work, and then the Python script runs on top of it to control the missions. But when you're shooting a beam at somebody, that's all C++ code. When a torpedo is tracking towards a target, that's all C++ code. There's a lot of C++ code. So it's not something that we can easily just turn the key on Python and we're done, unfortunately. But again, the new engine that I wrote, the PAX engine, based on DirectX 11, has a very nice, at least I think is a very nice abstraction layer. So moving to other platforms is going to be a lot more straightforward and possible than the old game.
Oh, also, if you're trying to run it on Linux, you can already do that. In fact, if you go to Nosy Nick's page, and we'll provide you a link for that, he already has, I believe, Cosmos 1.0 ready to run on his the web servers, the cloud web servers.
The AWS server?
Yeah, and that's running on Ubuntu 23.10 with, I think, Wine 7. So which is it's not an emulator, but it will run in Linux. So.
Okay, more DMX. How many DMX queues will be available natively? Will we need to wait for a new DMX tools to make all the additional queues available? Like DMX.
Well, ideally, DMX tools should go into the dustbin of history. Ideally. DMX Tools was a third-party app that was designed to basically do more than I had than I had put in, because in the old Artemis I had set up these DMX queues and just scattered them throughout the C++ code to trigger based on every state I could basically find. The way Python and DMX are integrated in Cosmos means that the state of the game, the various numbers that represent the player ship and that represent the enemies and that represent the state of the mission, are all accessible to the Python code that controls the DMX output channels. So whatever esoteric state you want to display a light or a flash or something on should already be available without having to have a third-party tool that intercepts my messages, my network messages, to get the information about the state of the game. All the state of the game that is available should certainly be exposed from the beginning to somebody who wants to build more complex DMX structures.
And it might be fair to say that it is Python, so you can build a library, and maybe the community can make a thing with like tools, but it's more integrated and more native to the system now.
That's true. As I have found out over this development period, Python is crazy flexible.
All right. So I think what you're saying is if you want to add more DMX queues, what you can do with the code out there right now is you can go into the Python, find out where that event is triggering, and you put in the Python command. It's a DMX function?
Well, there
a function call.
There are function calls that are specified specifically for creating the various and defining the various DMX channels that go out of the machine. And yeah, that's specifically you go into data, and then you go to the missions folder, and then you go to the common folder, and in there you find DMX.py.
I think so.
Yeah, that is the common script, which you can overwrite for your own specific mission. But the common script is all laid out there and very well documented already. But and that's your starting point. From there, you can read any state of the game and send a DMX channel out, and you can send that DMX channel out on the server or any client you choose.
Yeah, and the state might be something that works with the main script to make data so that it's available in DMX. But if there's extra state that they want to convey that's not available from just interrogating a ship or something, updating a ship or something. But yeah.
It's very possible because it's very powerful and flexible.
Mike came in the room because he's going to want to answer or hear the answer to this question.
Okay.
Jonathan Riley, did you pay him?
Armada 6, when?
That's not necessarily my question. That's actually a Bill question.
Well,
Is that a Bill question?
Sort of. He's looking at it.
Well, in general, we're looking at it,
Yeah.
and we may look for other people to pick up the baton,
Yeah.
but you can answer the question better than I.
Since the last Armada, I've been very open with my team that Artemis, the original Artemis, wasn't making the big bucks that it used to. It's part of the long tail. It's an indie game. It's been making money for way over 10 years. It just makes less every year, and setting up an Armada isn't free. The last and cheapest space we got from a hotel was like $3,000 for 6,600 square feet for a weekend. But that's
pricing.
that's COVID pricing, so we can't expect that. Plus, I had to pay for a con director to actually do the job of doing a con director. Plus, all the various equipment and extra things we needed, and food for the team, and so on. The bill adds up, and the original Artemis was not paying that bill anymore. Can we have Armada going forward? Well, let's see how many bills Cosmos pays.
Yeah, and look for stuff on the forums from Mike about next year's Cleveland Gaming Classic.
I would like to do an Armada-like event at someone else's convention where we put a whole bunch of Artemis content in a convention somebody else is running, and they give us free space. That would be my dream.
Yeah, maybe they can interact with you on the forums.
Maybe they can interact with me on the forums to help
that case for those other collaborators.
Right. So far, the participation we've had on the forums is not saying that people would come. So unless a bunch of people say they would come, we're not going to try to do it.
Right. Our friend Jim Gillespie says, "I just bought my bridge license!" Exclamation.
I told you and I told you and I told you. You get the free copy for being part of the team.
He is one of our collaborators, and he ran Comic-Con in San Diego with over 65 crews, Mike.
Yes, I think that's easily true. Yeah.
Yes, Jim was an operator that really brought a lot of early testing, and real hit the ground, rubber to the road kind of. Is it going to work in a convention setting? And he's been very valuable since, with loads and loads of feedback.
Yeah, they ran that at San Diego with all the code that we fixed in the last 2 months.
Yeah, we found a lot of things to fix in San Diego.
Yes, we did.
But Jim has done an amazing job running a lot of players through a single bridge.
And again, if you're operators, we put stuff in there specifically for operators. It's a little hidden. We got some documentation on it, but you'll probably see more about it or reach out if you're itching to learn about it. Gives you a lot of control over how you start missions and control missions. Anyway, Idiot Luggage, thanks you for answering the question. I was wondering if the game was written on something else, C++. Poi, with Admiral Station or mode, is there a sandbox that you can just create missions on the go while the ship crew is live, or will you have to generate before the game starts?
Yes.
It's available in every mission, and yes, there's a sandbox, and there are, I know Darren hates the word, map commands to quickly generate a siege-like map with like 4 clicks. And then you can do more granular changes from there. And like I said, Mike wants us to demo that at some point.
I hope we get to demonstrate that later in this broadcast.
Okay.
So you answered the question about the game engine that it's written in?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, William Wallace chiming in. Armada 6 will be in 2026 tentatively. So he's taking that torch.
Go, William Wallace!
Idiot Luggage, I think this is more of a statement. Thanks. I have to drop. People are her for my gaming night. So I think you meant here.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're playing Artemis Cosmos.
I hope so too.
Interestingly,
increase social media presence to get Cosmos out there to the general public to see. Well,
we've been trying. We're doing our best.
We're old and not very media savvy, so.
Speak for yourself.
Yes, I'm speaking for myself. I'm sorry.
And Jim is saying exactly what we thought he would say. He wants to support the game. So. And that's all I have right now. So
okay, well, the one place they're not playing Artemis Cosmos here, because everybody is downstairs gathered around the television watching this broadcast.
Hello downstairs.
All right. Well, then maybe it's time to stop with the broadcast and start with the playing.
Yes.
It's been pretty good content. People are interested.
So do we want to move upstairs and get the bridge going?
Well, you should get the bridge going, but maybe
we should get
in the interim while they're doing it, maybe you and I can talk about scripting.
Okay.
Someone
clear out. Let them talk about scripting.
Somebody could sit here though.
Yeah, I'll sit there
and tell us if any chats are coming in. I gotta get in front.
Thanks again.
Well, no, maybe we should get somebody else to sit there.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry.
All right.
we're going to get Darren and Doug in front of the camera to talk about the scripting and the amazing language that Doug has created.
I'm usually behind the camera.
Yes. And
I'm regretting my sound choice with these microphones, so I apologize for that.
and as far as scripting goes, that's pretty much all Doug. I'm just the guy who creates all the black holes. So,
Well, Mike's involved in all this too,
Yeah.
because
yeah, you should-
even though Mike probably says, yeah, he didn't write any script, but every time he wrote a script, I would go, oh, you can't do that like that. And I would go in and change and make the system a little better.
Okay, well, we had a question earlier about is it going to be easier? The scripting language is going to be easier, and that's I don't know, like
So, yeah.
double-edged pistol there.
Yeah.
And I don't come from a coding background. You've been coding, much longer.
I've
than
been
I
coding since 1980.
Yeah, and I've been kind of, amateurly sort of hacking away at it.
Yeah, so
if you want to see Doug make some really weird expressions, just show him some of my code. It's like, oh my god, why did you would do what? But yes, we have the Python layer, and then on top of that we have Mast.
yeah.
And Mast is a scripting language you came up with
Yeah.
to make it flow more like a story.
And be more approachable.
Yes.
So
You mentioned earlier that it was based on, was it, what were the examples? Choice
choice script is more of a narrative language that you'll see by Inkle that has made games like Around the World in 80 Days and Heaven's Vault and a couple other games that are escaping me. As well as dialogue systems and other things like that. So Python is a fully object-oriented programming language. You and Mike are more authors than programmers, but yeah, I think you have more. You both have coding experience, and also it's really involved in the system that we're in. We're in that game loop that every second we get one chance to look at the state and do and react to it. But there's all these different things that I call agents. That's the A.
Multi-agent.
Multi-agent, multiple agents. Storytelling is what Mast stands for.
All right.
And it's hard to manage all those things, but in a way, they're very much like the XML events, but they're much more powerful.
I was going to bring that up because when the old scripting language, the XML language, which when I was going through the documentation, I realized we didn't have a name for it. Yeah. So whenever we're referring to the old, it's like, it's the XML. But
XML stuff.
Well, why don't you tell them what was the problem with the XML? The problems with the XML.
Yeah. Well,
what were you trying to fix?
Well, I tried to write XML scripts, and Mike would show me, or I'd see your scripts, and as a programmer, not anything about what you did. You were using the tool you had. You copy and paste all this code, and for a programmer, it's like, oh my god, you get write once and reuse multiple times. So there was no reuse at all in the XML language. You copy pasted stuff, and your scripts would ultimately get really huge, and you paste something and then miss making the right change for that.
What you said was it's a long state engine, a series of state engines.
It is very much, and I would imagine that Mast at some level, if you squint, is the same thing. It's just managing conditions and state, but it's much
more efficient.
More efficient at it.
Whereas with the old XML, every single event had a tag, and then it would check on the game loop would check each event would check the condition to see, am I supposed to run this block of code? And every ticket would go through every single event and do that. And you would look at that and say, oh my god, why would you do it that way? Why would you do it that way?
So, you're at the end of the game and you're still running the beginning of the game logic. So that's the other thing. The tasks, which are like events, they are scheduled and they can be unscheduled and they end. They run to completion. So you're only running the code that you should be running.
Did you explain what an agent is?
An agent is anything. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't explain that, but thanks. It's a ship. It's the GUI. It's
It's any object.
anything. It's an asteroid. Anything in
An
the
AI.
game
Yeah.
is an agent.
So
And an agent can have inventory, which is data.
Yeah.
They can have roles, which are kind of it can explain what these things are, so you can actually look at and say, "Hey, where are all my friendly ships out there?" Real quickly by looking at their roles.
yeah, but what you're saying is any object you can put in the game, whether it's a ship or a station or even a torpedo or even the interface itself, that's an object that you can then write inventory values to.
Yep.
So it's a lot easier to manage those variables and get them from the game engine to do things with.
There's a consistent way to deal with everything.
Okay.
we have a question from the internet. James Gillespie asks, is there going to be a built-in mission editor?
No.
I will say this. One of the next things that, starting with the next version, I don't want to say when that is, but when I start coding again, I'm going to work on with Darren and Mike a system for doing more, I call it a carding grid system, so it'll be much easier to manage what these agents that are in the system. And that will be something that you'll be able to draw a map with just ASCII characters within a script. And on top of that, if somebody wants to, I'm going to be too busy writing this, but somebody could write a map editor on top of that. So that's one of the things that we're going to
And this will be for creating big universe maps.
Yeah.
Not a little 100 by 100 sector like we used to have. This will be.
There's a galaxy level grid. There's that goes into solar, into planetary, into a couple sub levels till finally you get down to what you understand as a sector.
Now that sounds exciting.
To answer your question, no one on the development team is currently looking at doing a mission editor or a map editor. Right now, our thoughts is that, if we do our job right, we won't necessarily need one right away. If we give you the right tools, then you won't necessarily need a mission editor. But if there's a demand out there, if the people in the community say we really need this, we really need a mission editor or a map editor, then we'll probably look to the development, the Artemis community out there. There's like Dave Thaler's and there's other people out there who really want to see that as well, and we'll probably tap them to do something along the lines of a mission editor.
Yeah. Along those lines, if you are itching to have an editor and other people wrote them on top of the old Artemis, please don't go out and just grab what's out there now.
Yeah.
Interact with us so we can help you understand what the long-term vision is, so we can work better together.
So with the Mast language, with the agents you can create, you can now do much better storytelling, right? You can not just have a ship out there that talks with you. You have a person with a face, and you can dock at a space station and go to the bar and talk to the bartender, and you can let's hear some more about this awesomeness.
Well, that's also, people look at the engineering, right? The engineering grid, and you see some people would say, "Oh, it's not as sexy because it's 3D, or not 3D, but
2D, yeah.
The 2D aspect of it." Each one of those rooms and dam countings is a scriptable agent. And we could add more. You can add things dynamically and have stories there. We have talked about having hero engineers that you go to a space station and you recruit them in the taverns there. all these things are going to be possible because of what we have in this.
You can
frickin'
have heroic equipment. You can have a shield generator
Yep.
that has survived so many battles. It's
Yep.
more efficient than the other ones. And we can have alien artifacts, and we can have ambassadors that wander around and damage your ship, and
Yep.
alien eggs that hatch little hatchlings that scurry around your grid objects and your grid map. And
Yeah, one of the prototypes I did was an
Yeah.
entity that came in and was sabotaging systems. I don't know if I ever showed that.
But all that is possible now.
all that's possible. That we're just talking about engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole map or the whole cosmos is available to us.
The big advantage.
Every asteroid, every nebula
Yeah.
is an age.
Yeah, don't talk to the asteroids. They can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Well, early on, you wrote a script that demonstrated I could be the helmsman and I could dock at a space station.
Yeah.
And I could walk away from the helm and go to the space station's bar and ask the bartender some questions about what's going on in the sector. And everybody else could walk around the space station if we wanted to, if you chose to script that.
Yeah.
That's there right now.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the tutorial missions. Was a bar where everybody could go to and then sit and chat, and that's kind of Wing Commander's bar where you're going to find clues and things.
The
like
really
that,
neat thing about
Mast,
Mast, though, is the variables and the information are shared between the clients. So it's a little like you can set up your own, choose your own adventure style, clickable adventure where your entire crew goes to the bar and they're all interacting with different people and clicking on different things. But all of those actions, all of those choices are shared with the clients, so that when we get around to writing tutorials, the tutorials will be interactive, and then the different stations can interact with each other. That's what the multi-agent is supposed to do, and that's much easier with Mast.
And the multiple agent thing allows you it's not just a storytelling thing where the 5 people sitting at consoles on your bridge can interact with characters in the universe. Another bridge that's on the same server could dock at a different space station and interact with characters there and can get into whatever shenanigans you choose to write in your script.
Yeah.
That's the multiple part of the multiple agent storytelling.
Well, yeah, a council is an agent, so therefore the player that is in front of that council is in fact an agent.
Also, because we're using Python, if you want the game to interact with something that is not part of the game, if you wanted to act with a phone app, if you wanted to interact with a web server or a web, an external web client that has game data on it, or a map, or a map on it, or your own private little sector or universe, all that can be done at the Python layer, where you can interact with that.
That's one of the good things about the choice of Python, because you can spin up a parallel Python process, set a queue between them, which I've done this, and then that other side of the conversation can do whatever the data that comes over the queue. You can run a web server. I've run open sound control things. That's like a layer on top of DMX where you can take an OCX control, and I had it running Helm because of this kind of pipeline, this connection between Python and the engine.
So can you describe kind of metaphorically the relationship between the Artemis game engine and Python and Mast?
Actually,
Here's a PowerPoint on it.
click on. I have all these things. I'm not using it. See where it says int Mast over on the right hand side?
Yeah.
Don't hit any of those blue buttons. on the left side. I'm sorry.
On the left side, int Mast. Yes, I see that.
Yeah, I meant to have that. So click on that. This
Click on
might
that.
be hard to read, but click on this here, the SS Mast.
SS Mast.
And then stop it or pause it, and then we'll go through each one of these
This pause?
slides. Go back a couple of slides, though.
Do I do that with the mouse wheel?
No, you do it over here with the buttons.
Okay.
That's back, yeah. So now go forward one.
Okay.
So this is the layer, So at the bottom, I can't see it from that far, but I remember it. So at the bottom is the C++ engine that Tom has created. And then on top of that, there's a C++ layer. I'm talking about players too much. C++ layer that exposes a lot of this stuff from the engine. And then on top of that, you create Python code. Anybody can write straight to the Python API. So anybody can build off of that. Xavier, I don't know if he has a last name, I'm sorry. But over in the UK,
He does, Wise.
Huh? Yeah, that's right.
Wise.
Xavier Wise. I know that. He, in parallel, because we all started from the same starting line, collaborating on this, Xavier's built an entirely, completely different set of libraries on top of.
Yeah, he's got like crafting, and he's got upgrades, and he's got like different ship systems. Yeah,
Xavier's had the TSN. I want to say the name right. It's just the TSN.
Oh, it's what did they call it? The TSN mod?
Yeah, he just calls it the.
Well, I meant his group.
They just call themselves the TSN.
Okay, they call them the TSN, and they play all the time, and they've had this elaborate world building that they've had.
Yeah.
And Xavier built on top of that his kind of dream for that community. So they have, he built in parallel completely a different system that it has jump gates and other things that we may add. But
I want to add jump gates.
We're going to add jump gates.
Yeah, we're going to have jump gates. We're going to have very detailed jump gates.
And so
and the Kralien's going
to have the point is that they built their own entire system. And it's like their dream. They have their galaxy maps and all that kind of built into it. They have different consoles built into it and other things. But on the left-hand side of there is kind of what Mast is built into I call it the SBS Utils runtime library. And it has the Mast runtime. And then on top of that, all the legendary missions are built on top of that. What does that say now?
You can make a mission without writing a word of Python.
That's
you can write a whole adventure in Mast. That's what Mast is for.
Mast. So the secret meeting is completely Mast. Maybe one Python file. I'm not sure. Walk the line is completely Mast. But the important thing here is go to the next slide. Go forward. So. A big thing about me is reusability. It's been an obsession of mine for a long time. And this whole system is built on libraries that are reusable, but also like 90% of legendary missions is reused. It's the modules and the code for legendary missions are built into a library that are then leveraged by secret meeting and walk the line. And ideally, if you're going to start scripting, you start from there. There's a template out there called Mast Starter that you can start with, or you can just grab secret meeting and start poking at that and changing that. The point is there's add-ons that can be built. And ideally, the community can start also building add-ons to that. Like Darren wrote the I don't want to say what it's about, but a little paper that's in peacetime that could actually be made into an add-on and can be added to any mission. Or you might have your own different sub-stories that you want to write as a side quest, and that can be done as an add-on. It can be added to anybody's mission. So there's a lot of reuse in the system, and hopefully as a community we can build a lot of stuff on top of it.
Well, we're going to go to more slides here.
Okay.
We don't need to, but...
So should I go back to interview?
Yeah. The other slides, and we can make those available. We're just talking about what Mast is. And
in Artemis 2.8, all the missions were self-contained in an XML file.
Yep.
And I look at Mike's old meetings. I would look at other missions that the other people had posted in the forums. Like, oh, how did they do that? Because it's like the one that inspired me the most was Mike's mission to Hell, which wasn't working for like the later versions of Artemis. But there's so many things in there that I stole on how to wipe the sector and create a new dimension for the players to wander around in. And there were so many things in that mission that I stole. So what you're saying now is instead of each mission being self-contained, we're building a library where Mike writes a mission and he does something really cool, and it's like, oh, I want to use that. It's like, well, it's in the library. I can go get it, and just
Yeah, that's one way.
drag
But also,
that
like the demo that we just made.
yeah.
I wrote a mission. It's one file. It's got everything you need in there to generate. Well, there is one Python file because I wanted to reuse some of the scattering of the stations and stuff like that. So but it's one simple file, and that's also on GitHub. You can see how the demo was written. It's very much like Siege, but it's limited to Kraliens essentially, and only one asteroid type.
Yeah, and
But that's another example out there to see.
if you're interested in the scripting, if you're interested to see how do I write this stuff, it's out on GitHub.
Yeah.
You can look at the SBS utils. You can look at legendary. Do we have legendary missions out there?
Everything's up there.
Everything's up
Everything above C++ is out on the internet for collaboration.
And I'll be posting some stuff at the forum on, step by step, how do I create a new mission.
The other thing is there's documentation. It is very much in what many people call Doug speak.
Yeah, I need to go through and clean it up. So
vast amount of editing and updating, but the goal is to have both for SBS utils and legendary missions, because it has so many core add-ons. There's documentation up there about what Mast is. There is a getting started guide, which Darren has edited. We need to get those edits up there. But the point is, we leverage GitHub like a lot of developers do in the world. But there's also documentation up there.
and the GitHub stuff. That's all open source, right?
All of it is
Yeah.
MIT license. Tom's aware that I put it at MIT, which means it's fully open source.
Yeah, and I know in the community, there's other people who've been saying, "Oh, Artemis isn't open source. Oh, we don't have access to the code," and that's Tom's engine. That's how he makes money. We don't want to mess with that. But everything else, legendary missions, all the SBS utils, that's all open source and out there. So that's out there for you guys to grab and play with.
Yep, and like it showed, you can build your own parallel universe of code.
Yeah.
On top of that engine.
And if you need something in the C++ layer to do something, then Tom's very approachable. So
yeah.
Or just bug us, and then we'll bug Tom, and we'll get him to fix it. So.
Did we have a question, Mike?
Okay, well, yeah, we had a couple of questions online. Mark Alexander asked a question, but then he went AFK, so I hope he tells us when he gets back so we can address his question. And he just bought his bridge license, so go, Mark!
We can answer it in a few seconds if you come back.
Jim Gillespie said, can the game universe progress be saved in Cosmos?
So, no, but that's one of the reasons.
Yes,
one of the reasons I want it can be saved.
It can be saved, yes.
It can be saved, but one of the things I like about the card and grid system that's in my head right now is that'll make it much easier to have save game, have checkpoints, because if you think about it like any game and you have your Artemis card out there, and then you get an action card to upgrade the engines and upgrade the beams. Now I have those cards, and I can save the fact that state exists. Because setting all those values in script, you can do to get a better engine, to get better beams.
Yeah.
But how do you track that? We're not going to build a whole undo redo system for the scripting engine, but the card system lets us kind of do that.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about that. Where do we, if we're going to save like the ship or the ship data, if we're going to save the game state, do we do that server side? Do we do it client side?
Yeah.
We've had discussions about it, but to answer your question, it's not written yet.
Yeah.
But it's we can do it with the Python. We just haven't done it yet. It's coming. We can do it. We can do save states, or you can go grab the code. You can write like a JSON file or a text file.
Yep.
Write it out. You can read it back in. You can create a save game state.
You can do that, and it wouldn't be much different than the card. But the card is going to give it very much a simple interface that can create many different types of games.
Yes.
So yeah.
So that's coming.
So it's coming. That's
Great.
like I just thought, oh, if somebody's going to try to write it. Well, I was trying to think about that from the game master.
Yeah.
When I did Admiral stuff and I was dumping stuff out there, I was like, oh, this would be cool. This is like a map editor almost. I'm like, oh wait, how do you save that state?
Okay.
And you can't. You have to actually save the script you just ran, which is where the cards come.
Okay.
You save the fact that you have a card, which in sense executes the same code.
But we have talked about having persistent damage on ships, persistent heroes on ships, persistent ship upgrades.
Yep.
And the idea is you could sit down with a crew maybe every week or every few months, and when you start up the game, your ship loads in, and everything that was there before, you have persistent changes to the ship. And each ship then becomes more distinctive, more individual, more personal.
Imagine if you were playing a game and you had cards out there. I play the Artemis card and I have these upgrades. I have these crew members and they have these upgrade cards.
Yeah.
Then you can save that. It persists and then you can restore all of them.
Yeah.
So that's upgrades and things on the ship. What if I'm interested in the universe? What if I pissed off that bartender at DS1 last week? Can this game state remember that he's pissed off at me next week?
Why are you asking me that, Mike? Sure. Just because you want that reputation system. Actually, yes, because you're going to play those reputation cards now, right?
Awesome!
Yeah.
So now, Mike has been very much, not just taunting, he wants compliments. And then he wants you to have a reputation with things. And actually, one of the things that you'll see right now, and it's nascent right now, it's very simple, but there is a way of communicating where it will randomly choose what is said. That's in there now. Mm-hmm. But the whole goal of that was to work on
the hails and the taunts. When
hails
you're
and
communicating with
taunts.
other ships.
When you click on a thing and it says "eat my beans" or whatever, it's all kind of randomly generated. Even the science scans can give you randomly different response. And it's very straightforward, easy code to write. That was all to address, because again, Mike's always saying, okay, I'm going to learn the code now. How do I do this? I'm like, I can't do that. Well, one of it is this reputation system, and that's where the choice script that came in. And that's going to be a system that is weighted eventually. And then you'll have different values that you'll have to script that express the weight. And that would be your reputation. Mm-hmm.
So
cruelty.
Yes.
Cruelty.
So you could have all these AI agents out there not only can have personalities, but they can have attitudes toward you.
Correct. And
which can change based on what you do in the game.
Yeah. And they will respond appropriately. If you're a real jerk to the Kraliens, they will know that, and they will respond in kind.
Yeah. Do we have other questions?
We had Mark Alexander, and let's find out. Maybe if Mark is back, he'll let us know. But his first question was probably we can't answer it, but not a high priority. But in the game, ship models are not designed for 3D printing. I'm hoping the modeler could edit and provide versions that are optimized for printing. And I think
Mark Bell's question, isn't it? We had little 3D printed.
Yeah, we do have three, but they are not. At the same time, they're not optimized. He's right. It takes a lot of screwing around to 3D print, but they can be 3D printed.
Plus, they're optimized to be in a game, so they're not the most curvy things.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe printable versions could come out later. That's a Tom question, though.
Yeah, he's got some brand new 3D printers he'd love to play with.
Oh yeah, Tom has plenty of 3D experience. He'd probably print some right now.
The next question is one I'm hoping I am a part of the answer to, and that is Red Alert still just cosmetic? Could that be changed in scripting? I know the answer is.
To answer that question.
The answer is, at this moment in the default game, Red Alert is still pretty much cosmetic. But absolutely, it can be changed in scripting. Yeah. What does Red Alert do?
I don't remember if I ever coded it, but I think Dancom slowed down under Red Alert.
Okay.
I have to check that. I wrote that like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. All right.
As I recall, the discussion was when you turn on red alert, the Damcons go to general quarters, and they're less likely to take damage that way.
I think they just slow down,
No.
if anything.
Well, the eventually red alert should cause.
Yeah, it is state that can be used with anything.
Yes, you can use red alert as a state for your own codes. We haven't released it with the stuff I'm about to describe. But in a real Navy battleship, when you go to condition 1 or condition 2 or condition 3 or whatever, they will close all the doors marked 1 or 2 or 3. And when you're at condition 1, all your doors are closed so that if the ship gets hit, you take minimal damage. In Artemis, when you go to red alert, all your hatches should be sealed. All your crew should be at their action stations, and the ship should take normal damage. If you get hit when you're not at red alert and your shields aren't up and the crew's just hanging around, you should take extra damage. That hasn't been coded yet. So when you're not at red alert, you should take extra damage, but all the little, the Damcon teams, and can I introduce the word Steves? All the little Steves can run around the ship at their fastest possible speed. When you go to red alert, all the doors get closed, the whole ship gets locked down, and moving around the ship takes longer. But you are much more impregnable to damage when you're at red alert. Also, when we introduce the crew stress factor into the system, if you stay at red alert all day, all night, your crew is going to get overworked and stressful and start making mistakes, and bad things could start happening. They will definitely slow down. And so you would need to temper how much time you spend at red alert. There are reasons to be at red alert and reasons to go off of red alert.
Yeah,
But that's
the engineering grid in general is a target-rich environment for like a 2D RPG almost. That can be and those grid can be leveraged elsewhere, like we talked about doing with space stations and other things. Just aside, I know that the origin of Steve, I believe, is because it was a reference to the commercial videos that are on this channel. Where one of the Damcons tells Steve that I love him.
yes. So he's talking about they're not commercial, like making money. They're fake, humorous commercials that we played at Armadas in the past.
Hopefully you'll get a laugh out of those. But that's where that's from. But also they used to run around and look like the $6 Million Man. So that also kind of plays into the Steve.
So damage control teams are the prototypical Steves.
Yeah.
But you could code Space Marines and medics and scientists.
And every one of those rooms, you'll see that comms can talk to, that's another thing that's complete. Comms can talk to the internal stuff. And one of those things can be those rooms. So those rooms can have engineering has always been on its own. But with the communication system that's in there, you can have comms interact and need signs to interact, or even weapons to interact with engineering in a much more rich way.
So you could write a piece of your script where the communications officer can call the shuttle bay and ask a question. Or call the cargo bay and ask the quartermaster, what's in the cargo bay? Or what's going on? All of that is scriptable right now.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have other questions?
No, that was the last of the questions we had in here. Maybe it's time to go roving camera. Yeah,
I think we need to see some gameplay, right?
I think we do need to do a little gameplay.
All right.
Can we?
Ideally, you'll take my phone again, and I'll just have to trust that the.
Can we talk about getting the iPad working?
I couldn't get the audio to work.
Oh.
Plus, this is my older iPad, so it's the thing that I think was choppy. I don't know if it was. We'll try it again, and what we'll do is I will bring up the Admiral Council.
So right now we've got this.
Yep.
This is
YouTube
viewing. This is not sending. So give us a moment while we adjust modes here. We're going to leave the interview room and go out into the rest of the party.
Well, I'm not.
Well,
I'm going to sit here and where's your...
Doug's going to sit in the control room here.
I'm gonna drop some monsters or something on these unsuspecting players. But
Okay, if there. So can you go to this camera now anytime you want to? Oh, you're on this camera, and I can look at myself. Okay, here I am back again, Mike Subtelny, host of the party, drinking a toast once again to the fantastic premiere of Artemis Cosmos. We're going to go out and see what else is happening. Are people still riveted to this broadcast, or have we got a game going somewhere? All right. We gonna get a game going up here?
Yeah, we're talking for our crew.
This is your crew.
Guys, come on, let's be a crew. You guys come.
Alright.
I can do that. Oh wait, we're throwing weapons. We
So we
need
need
somebody.
somebody
Okay.
at weapons, somebody at engineering, and a captain.
I am a captain.
Okay, you're doing some weapons and engineering. You have to arm wrestle him.
I don't know if they're waiting us or not.
Alright. This engineering? That's engineering over there.
Oh, I'm not suggesting
Let's
that
get
I
going.
actually be the helms person up here.
Too bad you are now.
So, welcome to my bridge. You can see I got this lovely flooring material installed, and it changed the acoustics of these acoustic tiles, which I really like the effect that's had on the bridge.
Yeah, we just have to work on that.
So we have
We've got crew manning their stations now.
weapons, helm.
Hold on one second.
Darren, can you help us get started?
Yeah, Darren, you're better at this than I am.
Welcome.
What am I doing?
Can you get us started?
Who's one?
I'm going to do my usual stuff.
Because I've never done this. Like,
Helm is the easiest one until you fly the crew into a minefield.
Darren, don't put the level up too high.
these are my second missions.
No monster. Smart. Great.
Yeah,
So
we
here-
tested this out with 2 friendly ships.
We're on after we.
Not working. When it did,
Very good. So,
Working.
no, you need to tell the gate ready to play.
Oh, I see. Of course I do.
Helm.
Already.
You are driving the ship. There's the main view screen. We have the communications officer over here demanding powerful weapons.
nukes.
We have the science officer over here scanning for
Furiously scanning things. I'm not sure what I'm
scanning
doing.
things, looking around. There may be enemies. There certainly are friendlies.
I know.
Engineering over here is getting to know the layout of the dreadnought. You can zoom in if you want to.
You can ask the Helms Officer
Here are your.
to change the
You've got 3 damage
first
control
page of
teams.
the map.
1, 2, and 3 are color coded there.
I think
Yeah,
weapons should be able to do
It's a big ship, so
Oh, yeah.
dragging and zooming are going to be necessary.
Science, can you give Helm a heading?
What do you want heading to?
Bad guys.
Seven.
Alright, 117.
It's about.
Is it a group?
It is a group. It is
How many
about 44,000 meters away from us. We got distance to go.
44.
It's in Kilo 13.
Loading EMP and nuke. Alright.
How fast should we go there?
Like, warp 2 maybe?
Just watch our fuel. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Okay, the ship is going into warp.
They are inbound.
Don't bump into the station.
I will be fine.
Bump into the station.
It'll buff out.
Bumping the station is fine. Bumping the minefield is a problem.
Yeah. Okay, come in close.
So you can see up there,
Caught on one of these guys.
Should we slow down?
we're approaching the bad guys. We should probably not fly past them. Okay, that's fine.
Congratulations, we did get your attention.
Okay. 3. Wait.
Hold on.
So
we've
weapons
got,
is getting a lock.
Munitions in the air.
Oh!
You can see the little carrots are
Okay.
indicating the direction to
We went next.
the enemy and friendly units.
What am I firing? Nuke. Okay. Fire the nuke! Fired.
Shields are holding.
Oh no! What happened? Okay, alright. Oh my god!
There's a scar in the left.
Surrender.
Oh, they surrendered.
He
Oh,
surrendered.
Okay, good. There's a wreck out there. Let's clean up space.
Unknown ship.
Yeah, I know, but
So-
the wreck is in bearing 60.
Helm, fly up to the wreck. Weapons, shoot a beam at them at the wreck.
What frequency?
It doesn't matter for a wreck.
Surrendered.
Can you see the wreck?
Right here?
No, that's the surrendered.
Just there's a purple thing. That's the wreck.
That's the. Yeah, that's
There's a wreck there.
Right.
Behind the Scaron is
I see.
that thing's a wreck.
This here is a vibranium nodule. That's for engineers.
So if you fly through that, you can pick up the vibranium nodule.
Oh, we should do that.
You should pick up that, and then you should fly over to the purple wreck. So
behind T-78.
warp over there.
Yeah, behind T-78 is the wreck.
Meanwhile, is there anything in danger while we're messing around with space garbage cleanup?
I got two unknown bogeys.
Like,
They are a long way away.
I'll get scans on them while you're taking care of the wreck.
so you can see here,
Targeted.
communications is talking to T-78 Scaron and actually sees the face of the Scaron captain he's talking to.
Well, it might be also an issue.
As he
with
selects, and now he's selecting.
Yeah.
He can see that Scaron is being scanned by science. But communications can't initiate the scan. He can only see that the scan is in progress.
I'm 52,000 out, so the scans take a little bit of time.
Is it in status?
Okay, what do we got?
Okay.
T-21. Frequency Bravo for shields. Captain has been recognized for his financial skills, but is not regarded as particularly smart tactician. Elite ability, shield drain, sensor scramble. Bearing,
Well, that is on the intel scan for that enemy ship.
bearing 281, range 52,000.
Okay. He's been taunted. He is angry with us.
Let's meet him halfway.
Alright. EMP first. Wait for it. Wait for us to get a relatively good distance.
Should I actually go? Should I begin? I'm waiting for an order.
Yes.
To go.
Yeah.
You should warp toward him.
Warp 1.
One.
What one? Not 4.
So engineering, are you boosting power to things we need, like
Running out of energy.
Energy is sort
We're
of
half
so
energy.
I've been playing with warp and sensors, trying to keep them balanced while we're getting set up.
yeah, you can That is one of the things. The game balance should be that if you boost power warp engines, the increase in speed is enough to make up for the fact that it eats more energy. So it should be more energy efficient energy units per light year if you boost the warp power.
Hold on, they're not grouped close enough together to get them all.
Science is running a scan here.
What we got here?
One.
Probably Kralien. Oh,
And
Kralien.
so he can do a status scan, an intel scan. The bioscan doesn't do much in 1.0, but the stat scan is dynamic properties, like the shield frequencies. The intel is what's known about the ship.
Comms. Quebec 41. Captain is proud of their ship's appearance and frequently brags about its beauty.
So what can you tell them? What an ugly ship. Did you paint it that way on purpose, or did you just drag it through a garbage heap? Oh, putrescent mucus faces. Kraliens will repaint this ship with your blood. That's what we want to hear. Hit with a
I've got another
torpedo.
one loaded, so I'm gonna
Okay.
change this guy again. Empty then nuke.
Energy 346.
Alright, super low energy. We need one nuke.
That's what we have.
We just convert torpedoes to energy.
Okay, and you can, if you run low on energy, you can convert torpedoes to energy. Here we go.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I
Gonna
see.
hit? Is it gonna hit? Let's see.
What did we just launch? EMP?
And a nuke. And a nuke.
Okay. Let's see how that works. Those are Kralien, so that should.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
Quebec 41 might surrender. That's the only one left out of that group.
Okay, attack that one.
Will not surrender. They will fight to their last breath.
All right, let's work on this
All
Scar
right.
that's closer.
Fire the homing. Load the homing.
Scar its front shields are 265, rear shield 150. Alpha Alpha. Or no, sorry, Echo Echo on shields.
Okay, got it. Targeted.
Engineering, if you want to boost beams on him, see if we can go in for beam combat. Okay.
Please. Okay. Steering.
So, while this crew is playing, we're going to go back to the control room, where Doug has set up a Game Master console. And we're going to demonstrate that you can Game Master in any mission now if you launch the Admiral station. So,
Watch the wires.
watching the wires, and here we are on the screen. Are we using that microphone now?
Huh?
Are we using the microphone in this phone? Or the microphone in the room?
Just that one right now.
Okay, so how about a little demonstration of the process of using the Admiral console for that crew that's playing upstairs? So over here on this screen is another client that's logged into the same server, right?
Yep.
It's in the same server in that game, and Doug has a mouse that is controlling that client. So currently it's focused on that space station. He's going to click.
This is like a 3D camera, so you can see whatever you're looking at, orbit around it.
All
It
right.
might be more interesting if we find some baddies.
All right. So he's going to. He's selecting, similar to the way.
It's kind of a combination of science and comms. So this is science, and then look, and then this is the comms part.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it's really easy to script these things. much like the Game Master buttons.
So can you show where those players are live right now on this map? The crew that's upstairs? This is them, right? Player?
That's them. So there they are right there, yeah.
All right, so
there they are. You can see the beautiful
they're
3D.
passing the TSN Zagreb there, heading toward a space station.
That's them there.
And we can see the Admiral screen is focused on the player ship.
And again, you can orbit around it, see what's going on. And if you wanted, like, well, you really wanted to spook them, you can, like, maybe. I don't want to drop a monster on them. That'd be too much. But maybe I can add a Skyron out of the blue on them.
Okay, so he selected an Admiral area in that green square there.
Yep. And there's actually there's two areas, right?
There's an Admiral area and there's an Orders
Much
area.
like the Game Master mode had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna spawn an enemy.
All right, so he had enemy and he hit Scaron. So a Scaron has just appeared in that spot. And this could be made more detailed. It'd be possible to select what class of Scaron and what elite abilities it has with a more complicated
grid, and this is not complete right now. This is something that we didn't get into 1.0. But you'll be able to select the difficulty, the side, and other types of things from there. And the card system that I talked about before, maybe you're going to be selecting cards rather than a spawn, a specific race.
Meanwhile, you can see the players have reacted to the appearance of that Scaron T02. They've turned toward it and opened fire on it.
Want me to scare them? Let's drop a whole, like, I can easily delete these too. That's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to drop some enemies. I'm going to drop, like, a bunch of Kraliens.
Okay. He just dropped a whole bunch of Kraliens over there.
But I can go to the area here, and I can delete all the NPCs in that area and get ready, right?
Well, don't delete you just deleted the thing they're shooting at.
Maybe they think that Scaron jumped, but
you could put another Scaron there.
Yeah. I'll spawn another Scaron so they think he jumped. So there you go. There's a number of things. I use this a lot for testing. So one of the things you can do is you can select these commands down here. Mm-hmm. I can end the game. I could really mess with them, and I can select them and jump them to another place in the map if I wanted to. But what I use it a lot for is counting. So I can count the number of raiders that are still around, and it's over here. But I know that there's 9 enemies left.
Oh, it appears down in the lower right corner.
Yeah, so as an admiral or as an operator, well, operators are different. They have an ongoing tally of how many enemies are there. But you can count how many stations are left, how many players are left, etc.
And in general, in the procedurally generated missions, the missions that we call the Siege, the
Legendary missions?
The legendary missions, it's things like count of stations, count of players, and count of raiders that determine when the game ends. If you run out of players, you run out of stations, or you run out of raiders, the game ends in those missions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're...
Yeah, there is a sandbox mission. I'm sorry if I'm repeating something you said because I was paying attention to the question. But there's a map called Game Master Sandbox. And the goal is to have an admiral jump in and start throwing stuff down. And the only way to end that game is to use the command, end game. It's not going to end if the players all die, or the stations all die, or the raiders all die. You have to physically end the game as the game master in that particular mode.
All right. That's a fantastic addition to Cosmos that Artemis 2.8 didn't have.
And each one of these is these are all just comms buttons. So they're all as simple as creating a comms button. And I don't know if you noticed it, but there's very much a tree structure to these buttons. You can drill down pretty deeply.
So
in some
area.
areas.
Change the admiral size.
Yeah, so you can change.
Mm-hmm.
What, did I hit it?
I don't know.
Oh,
So,
maybe
so that's selected is for selected object.
Yeah.
Spawn will
Yeah.
get you to a tree of objects you could spawn.
Right. So you can spawn that. You can spawn a player. This is a nice tree one here, right? I can spawn another player. All these different types. From there, I'm not going to do that now. But imagine you can build a whole tree of things. If you had like your certain character, wolf spider or something like that, spawn wolf spider, and again the card system that I keep talking about is going to be the thing that makes this much easier to code. But you can do this now, and I expect if people are gonna, like a lot of people just want to write scripts for game mastering, and there's a rich environment that you can build off of this.
Right. So
today.
it comes with a built-in Game Master console that's not just a script. It can work in any mission.
Any mission.
But it comes with a mission that is a sandbox for the Game Master, and the Game Master Admiral console itself is written in Mast,
Yep.
and you could make it much more complicated if you wanted to.
Yeah, like the operator mode that I talked about is just it's a copy of the Admiral, and you can copy that and make whatever you want to it without really leading too much. We have plans on making Admiral versus Admiral games and other things like that. So that's one of the reasons, and Mike and I have arguments on what to call it, Game Master versus Admiral.
Yeah.
Eventually, we may go back to Game Master, and Admiral is the thing that is on a side. But we wanted to call out in this initial release that, hey, there's something a little different with this Admiral thing. But you may see that there's Admiral and Game Master and other like these consoles. There are going to be multiple consoles like these and multiple different gameplay modes coming out of this.
Fantastic. Okay, we given a good demonstration of this now?
I think so. One thing I'm going to
Okay.
point out, I think, is a message. Yeah. I forget how to do this.
Well, you've got the message, and message went to message crew.
Yeah, message crew. Oh, all right. I forgot about this. Okay, that's something that you don't really notice. I'll show you in a second. But these are actually crew members that actually typed in their name.
Ah,
So
okay.
at the console select screen, you can actually type your name in there. So somebody typed in "Burn, baby, burn."
And somebody type in Ensign Andreas.
So, and we'll send. What do you want to say to the whole crew? We'll tell the whole crew. Have fun.
All your base are. We're going to send you up a bomb.
Your base are belong to us. And then I hit this button, and hopefully it works. But on all the consoles up there, they just received a message that said that in the little text waterfall. My point of bringing this up is this is the first thing that has a property grid. It's kind of a grid that is available to script, so you can dynamically add a whole bunch of properties. So unlike the Admiral or Game Master, where it was just buttons,
In Artemis 2.8.
Artemis 2.8, you'll be able to have a lot of rich data here. So when I like that Scaron, I'll be able to say that he's on the TSN, or he's a level 5, not a level 2. Stuff like that will be available through that property grid. And actually, all the selection stuff at the beginning, where we're setting the friendly count and how many player ships, that'll all be done with a property grid as well. It's not currently. So property grids should be really powerful, and especially powerful here, because you'll be able to script all these properties that when you press that button, it'll take that extra state and use that to execute what's in the button.
Can you see if we've got any questions coming in about the Admiral console?
Yeah, I think we did. This is impressive. So,
of course it's impressive. Thank you.
All you can place random enemy ships to engage with. So show us if you can place random ships to engage with them. Did I do that? I think I did.
Well, you I don't know if by random ships.
Oh, I was placing specific ones?
Placing specific
I don't think
ships.
there's a button for that, but it's not that difficult to code, so I'm not going to.
Well, when you say place Scaron, does it always place an executor, or does it?
It uses the same fleet logic, and it uses the difficulty level currently.
Oh, okay.
In the future, you'll be able to probably launch a Scaron and in the property grid select which elite abilities it has, that type of thing. That's another nice thing about the property grid.
Okay. That's cool. But somebody could add that themselves right now. They could just get into Mast and add that property grid if they wanted to.
Yes, the property is great. Well, that's one of the things about the property. It's kind of obtuse to program right now, so I need to clean it up.
Okay.
But it proves that it works, that where I'm headed will work.
Yeah, and this is already a rich environment for game mastering.
Yeah, I hope it's out of the box should be at least equivalent in functionality to the demo mission that came with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're going to learn scripting, looking at what the Admiral thing does is a good way to get into it. It'll teach you how the comm structure works, as well as how to launch certain things.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I think it's qualifying that I think we addressed with you placed a ship a while back, which was good for them.
Okay.
The other thing is that this is more of a general question: is this world still essentially 2D, or does it have a certain level of 3D exploration? It is 3D. It is not complete 3D where you're going to have stations above you. There's a lot of complication in how to explain that to the end user.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go up and down and all around, and right now we kind of cap it at like 1,000 and 1,000. But there's definitely 3D stuff. If you could, when you play, you'll see that there's stations, and sometimes one of the complaints or things that we're still working out is sometimes you'll look like you're docking at a station, and you're like, I'm on the station, but it's actually above you or below you.
Yeah, there have been crews
there's already some crews that get confused by the 3D nature of it. So we're trying to walk a delicate line of how much. I will say this though: the Helm has 3 different modes. There's trainee, there's capital, and there's full 3D. And in full 3D, you are flying in full 3D.
Like an airplane. You can bank and roll and loop and everything.
Yeah.
That is available right now, but we have definitely seen crews get lost doing that.
So we're actually, that's probably one of the things we're looking for feedback is how best to convey that the things are above and below you.
Well, that does bring up a question about the Game Master console. You said you could move the player ship. You can move any object. Admiral can select an object.
Let me do that. I'll do that right now. I will grab Fancy here.
All right, Fancy is the name of a science vessel.
Please. Oh no, it's not responding.
Oh, the client here has stopped responding on this. We're using another PC here as a monitor on.
Yeah, I'm running OBS and all this on the same computer. So
yeah.
So pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Look away.
So,
look away.
So look at that nice poster I've got. That's an original DeLorean poster that came with from when the DeLoreans first went on the market. Back in 1981. And
we're back.
Okay, and now here we are again. We're back.
Okay.
On the Admiral console, that Admiral is looking at that same default space station at the beginning. we can see.
I'm gonna grab this friendly over here.
So there's a friendly he's got selected, and as soon as he clicks on it, it shows a picture of it, and he can use this to look around it.
Right-clicking to set the orders, right?
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do that command jump to. So I think this will jump over there. It may take a second or two for it to register that. That should have worked.
That was jump to. It looks like you can jump to a station or jump to
An area.
an area.
I'll
Okay.
try. Maybe it is just selection to selection. No, he's still not there.
Yeah, well, click stations, and won't that then let you pick which station?
Oh, was it giving me a choice? I'm sorry, I'm doing something wrong.
Okay. Well, but my point is your jump to command can jump to an object anywhere in 3D space, or if you select an area,
Yeah,
you can't make an object jump up or down.
right. It'll. I think it.
If there
Zero.
were a waypoint up or down that you were selected as something to jump to,
Right.
a station
You
or
need an object that is in 3D space, like I was trying to do with the station.
yeah.
I'm not sure why that didn't work, but it should have.
But well, and the players
And they just won a game.
won. All the enemies have been destroyed, and it took them 28 minutes. Good job, players.
So one of the other things, like, I don't know if they're going to start another game, but if they start another game, we'll show cinematic, and maybe we'll call it a night after that.
Okay, well, I'd like to do a little demonstrating of playing some consoles and maybe hooking up the DMX lights downstairs. So,
Well, okay.
So I'm gonna go to-
Submarine 3D. There's a little more 3D, but also, like I said, it's confusing to kind of convey full 3D.
it is, and players are getting
As
confused
well,
with
a
the
lot
full
of
3D.
games don't quite do it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more than just a submarine. It is sort of more like an airplane,
Mm-hmm.
you know. What about space stations, hazards, and anomalies? Can I place them in the Admiral view? Yes, I can.
Yeah, I saw those pop up on the list of objects you could place.
I'm gonna just show the cinematic view though.
Is there a server running?
Yeah, because I can see that. So I talked about you can type your crew name up here.
Mhm.
So it's like, you know.
So any console you're on, you can
So
type your name,
I'm
and
a
so
streamer. And you know, it doesn't do much other than that message, but there's a lot of crews that want to play scramble mode and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And having those names and then an Admiral view, especially if you're playing remote, that'll be really nice to be able to assign your crew. That's one of the thoughts behind adding that type of stuff.
Okay.
Waiting for them to start the game.
Nifty. Well, I'm going to go leave the room now and go see if anybody's got a game going somewhere or what is happening right now.
All right.
Thank you for staying with us, audience,
I'll watch the stream.
in this auspicious occasion of the launch of Artemis Cosmos
It is 9:22.
here in Cleveland, Ohio. All right. Hey, Steven's here.
Hello.
How you doing, sir? They got a game going downstairs?
We just finished.
Just finished, okay. All right. Down here. Of DMX lights on that bridge there, and maybe I've got somebody else who will help that, or
I gotta say, though, DMX is actually working on it.
it is working. Okay.
Proving that I did already install that driver.
Okay. See you shortly, Tom. Anybody know if there's upstairs?
What?
Is there a game going upstairs? Did you just leave there? Okay.
I don't know. I was never up there.
Okay. All right, we're going to. There's the bridge here. See if there's anything. Hey, we've got somebody. They're not playing downstairs now. They just finished play.
Okay.
They just walked away from the bridge and they're going to the bar.
Is that server 2 or server 1?
Down there here.
Yeah, when you do server 2 now, it says upstairs.
Oh, so we can start up here.
So there's a view of what the bridge looks like from the back. And I'll show you a view of what the bridge looks like. And we're doing a meeting or talking. This is looking back across the bridge toward the back. Back there behind that curtain is where the captain's stateroom is going to be, with a bedroom, a kitchenette, and a bathroom. It's going to be really swell. It's under construction. You can see the floor got finished up to here, and the rest of the floor will be put in next week. It's a work in progress. Very excited about it. We have a game going, yes. Is that a light cruiser or a scout we're flying? I think it's...
The Badger, do not shoot it at him.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be right back because they're calling for shots.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Thank God he's not wearing
Okay, so do we have some targets or something?
Well, I'll start scanning.
We got there. All right. I will.
Should I take a seat?
Can I get some? Yeah. Can I get a few people to jump in there and get some action going? We don't need the weapons officer yet, anyway. But let the weapons. No. Could you grab Helm or?
No, I can grab weapons for now.
All right.
When he comes back with his shot, I'll give it up.
All right, then I'll.
You're maxed out on power.
Somewhere. Boring. Science, can you give us a heading for anything?
Yeah, bear with me here.
All right.
T-95, bearing 19.
There it is.
And our fighter has engaged T-95.
Badger is tormenting him, yes.
All right, let's go over there and help Badger. So let's go look at the fighter console. Down the stairs here, we've got a fighter who is engaged a Scar on.
Torpedo T, is this it?
Yeah, you can program the torpedo to fire on one of the buttons.
Try button 2.
2? Let's see.
You seem to have your volume turned down on the fighter, but we can get that up a little later. So the capital ship bridge.
Oh, that's weird.
What's that?
Somehow I'm turning. I had just discovered a joystick, and I'm trying to.
Oh.
When I turn to the right, I'm actually turning to the left.
Well,
And
are
when
you?
I push my joystick to the left.
That's all configurable. Whoever played Helm last set it up however it is.
Okay. I think I touched
Yeah.
the second power button.
Alright. UBI play options, joystick.
So we're demonstrating going to joystick.
I want you to move the joystick
How do you
to
want
the right.
How do you want to
spin it.
turn? How do you want to yaw right?
Okay, so
That's set up for
That's-
roll.
okay.
So
That's the weird part right there.
what?
Okay, so
Oh, when I turn the joystick to the left.
try it now.
Now.
Okay.
Oh look, they're all set on invert. So they're
No,
all.
no, that's invert there.
Oh yeah, you're
I
right.
just unclicked that.
Yeah, it's the yaw that generally needs to be
Alright.
inverted.
So if you move forward,
I'm doing what I
down.
expect.
Okay, that's so pitch is fine.
That's what I
Yeah.
expect. I expect this.
And roll is
Can you-
fine. Yeah.
this-
So
this
now
is a-
yaw.
Okay,
So
roll.
now try yaw.
All right, hold on.
Yaw and rotate seem to be the same thing.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
these are both set for roll.
Yeah, there is no yaw.
Right. So let
Nothing
me,
is set for yaw.
Hey, try it now. Try the yaw now.
All
Be
right,
right back.
Okay.
but it's backwards. So hit the
Yeah.
invert the yaw.
All right.
The invert for the
You always have to invert the yaw. I don't know why. Well, on at
That
least
makes sense. I can work with
Okay,
that.
all right.
This.
at least
now,
on the
I'm doing what I think I should do.
Okay.
on this Logitech joystick, the Extreme 3D Pro, for whatever reason, we always have to reverse the yaw.
All right. So is that
Or
moving
invert the yaw.
the way you want it?
It is moving the way I would like to.
Okay. So then
Okay.
let me exit out of here
Exit. So you got there
Back.
by hitting the.
and continue. There you go.
So you hit the options, UI options, and joystick to access that. Meanwhile, here we are, back in combat. Helm is now satisfied with how his ship is oriented.
They're going around the DS. Whoa, slow down there.
All right, so you can see our friendly Badger is out there in that direction, and so is the bad guy.
Well, there it is.
Ooh, he's on red.
Okay, I've lost There's Badger.
So Badger is firing on that bad guy there.
T95 has no front shields. Charlie. For shields on him.
All right, so I'm going to T95, asking him to surrender. Nope. Sorry, they're going to fight to their last breath. All right, T95, well, I tried to save you. Now you're going to die.
Jaguar.
Okay, what is his status?
T95 status. No front shields. Rear shields.
Okay, great.
Uh-oh, Badger just took something.
Okay, weapons officer's done some shots. He's ready to load those nukes.
Yeah, that's in here.
We're playing Battle Cruiser, I see.
Hold on, guys. What do we got here? We got a couple of friendly ships in our area. We gotta figure out where we are. I'm assuming that's us. No, that's us there. So is that the is that the downstairs group?
I'm going to just rotate to see who we have in our.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Okay, yeah, the one called player is a battle cruiser. We're a light cruiser, I guess.
Correct.
Okay. And player, I don't know if there's anybody on it. That's just a ship that spawned.
Maybe somebody just downstairs logged in.
It might be that pesky Admiral upstairs.
Yeah, we're a TSN light cruiser. Nearest immediate threat. Bearing 206, range 9800.
206 what?
206.
Now we're at 240, 235.
So we've got a lot of power and sensors right now.
You can actually reload some of your
There's
weapons.
206, straight on.
All right, I'm going to take down the power in the sensors right now.
R71?
Are we going?
R71.
Are we going into warp?
Bravo, bravo.
Eventually this will be.
Oh, there's enemies coming up from behind us. Over at like 70.
Yes, I know.
Maneuvering. Okay, I'll boost power to maneuvering.
You want to get them?
No, let's work on the Scarran first. It's closer to a base.
Okay, sounds good. Never mind.
All right, I am taking the coolant out. Are we warping there, Helm?
We can't. How do we go forward?
Pushing the trigger.
Ah,
I think
Is the trigger set for warp?
we are moving forward.
All right, I'll put more power in the warp drive.
work one. You'll see these in different colors.
Now we're warping somewhere.
Shot past. Badger, keep them occupied till we get there. I got news for you. His front shield is 270.
All right, so I'm bringing up maneuvering so we can turn faster. Now that we've finished turning, I'm cranking up warp.
Lined right up with him, so.
David.
A lot closer.
Okay.
All right, there's no damage to our shields at this time.
Yes, so the Vixen's inbound. Do not use nukes. We have too many friendlies in the area.
Copy that.
All right, I'm putting some power in the shields now with the assumption somebody's going to shoot at us. So far, they're not shooting at us.
Okay, we're good. There's a live drone in the area. It's going for the Jaguar.
Got there.
Jaguar is not happy.
Ow.
Oh, we got hit. That was a very small hit.
We're not sure who is.
Two points of shield damage.
We're gonna get out of here.
The curtain aside and go back there.
Pulling out some.
Oh,
I
okay.
just love this curtain.
What's that?
Yeah.
It adds to the spaceship value.
Hey, where do we want to go?
All right, ladies. Yeah, I want to build something like that around the actual
That's
door.
exactly what I was just telling her. I was like,
Yeah.
this is literally what we were thinking.
So let's.
Sorry, I don't have my cat suit to give you a
Ooh.
pose for that. I did.
Nancy.
I didn't bring it.
Nearest immediate threat, Lambda 46, bearing 65 degrees.
All right, so I'm going to
13,000.
crank up power.
5 degrees. We're coming up bearing
Cranking up power to maneuvering.
65.
That'll it.
Off
And
we go.
now
Chasing at 66.
to warp.
Chasing at 65.
We do have a friendly something or other in there.
Warp engines are building up heat, so I'm going to turn down the power a little. Gonna put some coolant back in the shields there.
Badger, watch out. We have.
Oh, Badger and Vixen are two fighters in the air. It looks like they didn't die.
No, but Badger's back front shield is at -4.
Feel free to jump in here.
A 46 done.
Hey, Badger, take care of that wreck for us.
This is the way to play Artemis at a party with a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And the weapons officer doing shots.
You're not gonna hit many targets that way.
Yeah, check under the Helm console for a bottle of Jack.
Ow.
Did we bump into something?
No, I just anchored the notes.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to step downstairs.
Next immediate threat. Arvonians. Hold on, I'll give you a heading. To the south, I know that. Do we have the player friendly ship?
That's probably just, somebody probably just spawned a ship, logged into the server and spawned a ship.
Alright. DS-3 is about to come under attack. Bearing 177.
Weird. Okay.
That'll do it.
I'm going downstairs now.
I could recommend work too. We've got the gas.
Hey.
These guys all they want to do is go to night 10.
Oh yeah, I wasn't a character in that.
They just want to go to night 10.
I wasn't a character in that film.
No, you weren't.
You and Patty were characters, but I was not.
You were identified.
I was crew, not cast in that.
Yes. I didn't, how long has that poster been there? Has that always been there?
Yes, it has been always been there, and you can see.
2015.
Yep.
I know.
You and Patty were stars.
I
in
know
that.
we were amazing together.
Amazing together.
And no, we cannot.
No, you have not.
So,
What I got is I got some.
can we do a DMX demo before we end the show?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So
Right.
I'm using the gator clips. I'm taking the gator clips.
Yeah, and those are cool.
And I just, my trick I've been finding is just finding the.
Okay. We're down here in the living room bridge with Tom and Darren.
Follow my hands, Mike.
So that is a DMX light pot that we're using. Tom is plugging in this blue N-Tech box, open DMX, USB. It's got a USB plug on one side and a microphone plug. What's that called?
That's a 5-pin.
A 5-pin. On the other side. So you just plug that baby in, USB to your server. Okay.
And there we go.
And then it goes to the DMX light. In the case of this light, that light has to be set for 3-channel, is it? 7-channel?
3-channel.
3-channel.
Yeah, right
It's
here.
currently set for D1.
It's very typical on these pots.
Yeah.
That you have a menu, and you could choose the type of mode for this. I do 3-channel and hit enter, and now it's ready to go.
Okay, so let's start the server and see that light react. Or actually, the server's running. All we have to do is go to a communications console and start.
We're upstairs on the server upstairs. I have 2 ships going.
Or we could find helm or weapons and ray shields. And
Helms over
shields.
here. Shields are up. Shields are down.
Yeah, but
All right, we should restart the game.
yeah, are we? This isn't the server.
No, the
Then.
server's upstairs.
So yeah, so if this isn't the server, we can't get.
Common game?
Yes, there are 2.
So-
both bridges are on the same game.
Okay.
So we can't get DMX if.
Actually, we can.
We
That's
can.
how it works right now, because that server is going to send DMX signals not only to its own DMX,
Uh-huh.
it's also going to send to every main screen.
Okay.
DMX hung off of that main screen.
Okay.
That is a main screen right there.
So,
All right. So
But we need to restart because we unplugged and plugged.
okay. So let's restart.
We have to restart upstairs.
Do we have to restart upstairs?
Yeah.
If we have to restart the server, we have to restart upstairs. Okay. If we're just restarting
Oh, I see.
the main screen console.
Okay, I understand.
So he's just restarting the main screen console for ship 2 here. Connecting to Cosmos server 2. That's the server we've got running upstairs on the 3rd floor. All right, and now,
And we got shields. So
and look at that.
Shields are up. Shields are down.
Give it a little time. It takes a second.
Or do we need to be on the ship upstairs?
Well, if it's the same ship.
No.
It's not the same ship.
So if that's. Okay, and if you're like on it, yeah. Are you
Tell you what, let's go to
Or go to comms and do red alert. That should give us a
upstairs.
red.
There we go.
There we go. And now that's
All right.
off.
All right.
Shields are down.
Shields are up. Hey, okay, so it's reacting.
Yeah,
Here we have the,
Find comms and turn on red alert.
I'm looking for comms. Here's comms. Here's the red alert button. We're going to look at that button over there, and the light has gone red. And that's all it took. There was no code to write. It was just plugging in that box, a DMX light, and it's all built in by default into Artemis Cosmos.
So there are different drivers and different systems for different DMX boxes. The blue box that I showed you for OpenDMX is the one we currently support. There are other boxes, and we would like to open out support for those other boxes. It just didn't happen for 1.0, but it will happen in the future.
All right, and if you plug in that box, might you need to download a driver for it?
Yes, absolutely. You definitely just go to Google and type in OpenDMX driver, and you should get to the proper page to download. And then as a driver, you would install it on your basically your server or your main screen, whatever's connected to the DMX. And then you do that before you start the program, of course. Might even help if you reboot your computer after you install the driver.
Okay.
But yeah, just that one driver, and then it's there. And plug it in, start the game. Should be good to go.
All right, and we've set this up as a demonstration here, but we often daisy chain more lights. They can just plug right into each other on there, and you could do a whole light show all controlled by the default stuff that's in Artemis Cosmos right now. All right, thank you very much for that demonstration, Tom. I'm going to go back up and see Doug. Cosmos, yeah! Oh, actually, all right. Hey, gang, we're going to be closing out the podcast soon. I just wanted to make sure everybody got to meet up. And everybody else who's here at the party today. Hey. Okay, this is the kitchen right now. Where
Thank you, Maxwell from the Lego store. Thank you, Maxwell from the Lego store.
And you can see they're watching the podcast here in this room. Jump in and play. We'll walk through here. I guess you met Alta there, so she hangs out. But we're going to go back upstairs now to the second floor and see where Doug is. Thank you all for tuning into our video. So,
there you are. You're back now. I'll switch you over to this.
Switch it over to that.
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, thank you everyone for logging in to our live stream today of the premiere of Artemis Cosmos. Thank you for coming to our party. Thank you for coming to my house. And I hope you all get to play Artemis Cosmos very soon. Download it while it's still a bargain at $40. If you're watching this in a few years, I bet it's more expensive than that by now. And if you're ever in Ohio, come by Cleveland and play Artemis at my place.
Yeah, get your friends to buy it so we can have an armada for money.
Yeah, everybody buy it so we can have an armada. And with that, we're going to say good night from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And get out there and defend the galaxy.